Let us consider two places on our rather large and baffling planet. On one hand, we have Tokyo, Japan. It is a city that seems to have been built by a very clever child with a limitless supply of neon lights and futuristic gadgets. Everything here moves at the speed of a bullet train. On the other hand, deep in the Amazon rainforest of Ecuador, we find a Huaorani village. Here, life moves at the speed of a walking man. These two places could not be more different. One is a sprawling metropolis of concrete and steel, humming with the sound of millions of people and machines. The other is a small clearing in an endless sea of green, humming with the sound of insects and birds. I find it fascinating that both exist at the same time on the same Earth, representing two very different paths humanity has taken. Why these two, you ask? Well, it's because they represent the extremes of human experience in a rather neat way. Tokyo is the poster child for what happens when technology becomes a part of our very soul. It is a place where you can get a hot meal from a machine on any street corner and your toilet might greet you in the morning. The Huaorani village, by contrast, shows us what life is like when technology is something you make with your own two hands from the things you find lying around. It is a life lived in direct contact with the natural world, a world that is both a provider and a constant challenge. It is the story of humanity told from its beginning and its potential future all at once. The differences are not just in the buildings or the tools, they are etched into the very fabric of daily life. In Tokyo, a person's day is governed by the digital clock on their phone. Meetings, trains, and lunch breaks are all scheduled down to the minute. Life is a series of appointments and deadlines. In the Huaorani village, the day is governed by the sun. You wake when it rises, you work in the cool of the morning, you rest when the heat is too much, and you gather around the fire when darkness falls. One life is about managing time, the other is about living within its natural flow. It's a bit like comparing a Swiss watch to a river. This contrast raises some rather interesting questions, doesn't it? It makes you wonder about progress and what it really means. Is progress having a robot to serve you tea, or is it knowing how to find medicine in a leaf? Is it better to be connected to millions of people through the internet, or to be deeply connected to the small group of people you share your life with? By looking at these two very different ways of living, we can start to see the advantages and disadvantages of our own lives a little more clearly. It's like looking in a mirror, but the reflection is of a world completely unlike your own, which is always the most interesting kind of reflection to see. Imagine a typical morning in Tokyo. A man named Kenji wakes up not to a rooster, but to the gentle, pre-programmed chimes of his smart home system. The lights fade on slowly, mimicking the sunrise he cannot see from his 25th floor apartment. His coffee machine has already brewed his coffee. His newsfeed has already been curated to his interests. He hops on a gleaming, silent train, packed tightly with thousands of other commuters, each staring into their own private world on a small glass screen. His job is in a towering skyscraper, where he will spend the day interacting with colleagues through emails and video calls. It is a life of incredible efficiency and order, a perfectly choreographed dance. Now, let's travel thousands of miles to the Amazon. A man named Kawi wakes up to the real sunrise, its light filtering through the leaves of his thatched roof home. The air is filled with the sounds of monkeys and parrots. There is no schedule, only the needs of the day. He checks his blowgun and sharpens his darts. Perhaps today, he will hunt for wild pigs with the other men of the village. His wife and daughters might go to the garden to gather manioc, a starchy root that is a staple of their diet. Their work is not in an office but in the forest that surrounds them. It is a life of instinct and tradition, a rhythm passed down through generations. Food, that most basic of human needs, is another point of stark contrast. In Tokyo, Kenji can eat food from anywhere in the world. He can have Italian pasta for lunch and Mexican tacos for dinner, all ordered through an app on his phone and delivered to his door. His food comes in plastic containers, its origins a complete mystery. He might never see the farm it came from or the person who grew it. It is a world of infinite choice but very little connection. For Kenji, acquiring food is a transaction, a simple matter of tapping a screen and waiting for a delivery drone or a courier on a scooter. In the Huaorani village, food is a communal effort. Koi and the hunters bring back meat, and it is shared among everyone. The women bring back manioc from the garden, and they spend hours together peeling and cooking it. Their food comes directly from the earth around them. They know the name of every plant and the habits of every animal. They understand the seasons and the cycles of nature because their survival depends on it. There is no menu, only what the forest provides. Acquiring food is not a transaction but a central part of their culture, a daily ritual that binds the community together and reinforces their deep connection to the land they call home. The tools people use tell you a lot about their lives. In Tokyo, the most important tool is the smartphone. It is a wallet, a map, a library, a television, and a telephone all rolled into one impossibly thin device. People use it to navigate the labyrinthine subway system, to pay for their groceries, and to communicate with friends and family. Without it, a person would be quite lost. Technology is not just a tool, it is an extension of the self. Cars drive themselves, buildings are smart, and robots are not just in factories but are beginning to appear in homes and hospitals. These are tools designed to solve the problem of inconvenience and to make life more efficient. In the Huaorani village, the tools are made from the forest itself. The most important tool for a man is his blowgun. It is a long, straight piece of wood, carefully hollowed out, used with small darts tipped with poison from a local frog. This is how they hunt monkeys and birds in the high canopy of the forest. For building a house, they use axes to chop down trees and vines to tie the frame together. For cooking, they use clay pots and fire. These are tools that have been perfected over centuries. They are simple, effective, and completely biodegradable. They are tools designed to solve the fundamental problems of survival, finding food, and creating shelter. Transportation is another area where the difference is quite staggering. Tokyo has one of the most complex and efficient public transportation systems in the world. Shinkansen, or bullet trains, connect it to the rest of the country at speeds that seem to defy physics. Within the city there are subways, trains, buses, and taxis all running on a schedule that is famous for its punctuality. You can cross the entire city in under an hour, surrounded by strangers, without ever stepping outside. The main mode of transportation is public, shared, and incredibly fast. It is a system designed to move millions of people with maximum speed and minimum fuss. For the Huaorani, the main mode of transportation is their own 2 feet. They know the forest intimately, with a network of invisible trails that only they can see. For longer distances, or for traveling along the rivers that act as highways through the jungle, they use dugout canoes. These are carved from a single large tree, a process that can take weeks. Paddling a canoe is quiet and slow. It allows you to see the forest and its creatures without disturbing them. It is a mode of transportation that is in harmony with the environment, not in opposition to it. There is no schedule, no ticket, and no crowd. There is only the river and the strength of your own arms. When problems arise, the solutions in these 2 worlds are, as you might expect, wildly different. In Tokyo, if you get sick, you go to a hospital filled with advanced medical technology like MRI machines and laser scalpels. If your house has a problem, you call a specialist, a plumber, an electrician, a computer technician. There is an expert for everything. Society is structured around specialization. Problems are solved by applying knowledge, technology, and money. It is an effective system, but it can also make people feel a bit helpless, dependent on others for even the most basic things. If the power goes out, the entire system can grind to a halt. In the Amazon, problem-solving is a more personal and communal affair. If someone gets sick, they might first consult the village shaman, who has a vast knowledge of medicinal plants. The forest is their pharmacy. If a hut is damaged in a storm, the whole community comes together to help rebuild it. There are no specialists, only generalists. Everyone needs to know a little bit about everything: how to hunt, how to build, how to find water, and how to identify useful plants. Problems are solved with collective effort and ancestral knowledge. It is a resilient system, but it is also vulnerable. A new disease or a severe drought can be a catastrophe. So what can these 2 worlds possibly learn from each other? I think Tokyo, and by extension the entire modern world, could learn about connection. We have become so efficient and individualistic that we sometimes forget the importance of community. We have forgotten our connection to the natural world that sustains us. The Huaorani could remind us that food doesn't come from a supermarket but from the earth, and that real wealth might be strong family bonds, not a large bank account. They could teach us the value of slowing down and living in the moment, rather than constantly planning for the next one. A little less clock watching might do us all a world of good. And what could the Huaorani learn from Tokyo? They could certainly benefit from some of its tools. Modern medicine could save lives from infections and diseases that are currently a death sentence. Sustainable technology could provide clean water and light without destroying the forest. Access to information could help them protect their land and their culture from the outside world that encroaches ever closer. The key would be to adopt these tools selectively, without losing the culture and community that makes them who they are. It is a difficult balance to strike, but not an impossible one. Ultimately, both worlds show us that there is more than one way to be human, and perhaps the best way forward lies somewhere in the middle.